These crowds were assembled in the name of death. They were there to attend tributes to the dead. But not the already dead. The future dead. The living dead amongst us.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of George Reviews. So I just saw White Noise, the new Noah Baumbach joint, and it was definitely an enigma of a film. Not sure in a good way, not sure in a bad, and it pains me because these are the types of films I try to champion and lift up, but I cannot for the life of me even muster up the strength to try to lift this film with the audacity I saw on display of cringe and pretentiousness and how far up its own ass it is. And I usually don't like to punch down verbally at a film, but I felt as I was watching I was giving this film chance after chance after chance, but I kept shitting the bed at every turn with its complete lack of focus and indecision to pick a direction or a theme to stay on the fucking rails. This film suffers from an identity crisis, and to even try to describe it in synopsis form is a daunting task all on its own. But let's try anyways. The film centers on a family in what looks like to be the 1970s and the trials and events that surround them in quirky hysterical situations and antics. It's a very much a this happens type of movie, and then this happens and that happens and this happens and etc, etc, etc. You get it? It talks a lot about the mysteries of life, but doesn't display them in any interesting or compelling visual way. Though I will give the film this, that it does center around a lot of conversations about death, and that is the only consistent thing I can give about this film. But at the same time, it is overloaded with too many ideas that it seemed to forget to pick one central idea or theme, and as I said, this film suffers from an identity crisis. It doesn't know what it wants to be. Well, maybe that isn't totally fair. It does want to be a lot of things and fails to succeed in any of them, and that's this film's major problem. Even the most complex or surreal or abstract of films have some central ideas presented within themselves. Case in point, David Lynch's debut feature from 1977, Eraserhead. There's a lot of chaos and oddity going on in that film, and with most of Lynch's other work, it is really all up to your own personal interpretation. However, you could argue that personal interpretation aside, that a central idea for Eraserhead is dealing with the fears and insecurities of fatherhood, while presenting other themes and ideas throughout that central idea holds the film together. So with White Noise, let's just say if the conversations or meditations on death is the central idea, it does a terrible job at holding the rest together in any coherent or interesting way. It feels like a failed experiment, an interesting experiment, but a failed one nonetheless. It's like Spielberg, Malick, Lynch, and Wes Anderson all made Noah Baumbach to make this film in some kind of experimental lab, of an experiment that went totally wrong and bonkers and berserk. The story threads barely hold anything together resembling a story. The characters are like automatons, trying to sound human, resembling nothing in any form of characterization or interesting characterization. Maybe I was just too distracted by their lifeless personalities to notice a shred of character development. Then again, there isn't really much of any plot threads holding any ounce of characters, so in that way it is also consistently a mess. An interesting mess, but a mess nonetheless. I know I've been harping on this film really hard, and that isn't to say there aren't some good aspects to it. Technically, this film is competent enough. It has some compelling cinematography and editing, and it was definitely something for me to keep on with watching the film throughout. It awkwardly tries to do some surreal abstract imagery, but even that fell flat with the performances and overall script of the film. Not to mention the awkward cringe-inducing dance number in the end credits, and that's not much of a spoiler to say, as I'm sure it has been referenced and posted all over the internet at this point. In the end, White Noise is an interesting failure. I'm not really sure what Baumbach was trying to go for, tone-wise or story-wise, and maybe this film was too intellectual for me, and this is what intellectual cinema is, and stamp a big fat idiot sign on my head, because I'd take any pretentious art house flick with its head up its own ass and whatever White Noise has to offer. Still, there is something to respect about the audacity of White Noise, and I'm glad I experienced it, because it did fill me up with many different conflicting negative emotions, so it succeeded in that way. It is chaotically pretentious, which is why I'm going to rate White Noise 2 out of 5 stars. And that's going to be my review for White Noise. Now, what did you think of White Noise? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Am I being too hard on the film? Am I being too much of an asshole? Please just let me know down there in the comments, and please like and subscribe if you'd be so kind. My name is George Ray. Thank you so much for tuning into this review. Please remember to keep calm, keep cool, keep chill, embrace great cinema, stay away from intellectual cinema like White Noise. I'll see you on the next video. Until then, peace out.